Who would have thought the Sony a99 is back in this very promising sequel? Could this be the perfect all-round camera? Thank you to Squarespace for supporting this channel. Whether you need a domain, website or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. There's only one guy I know with A-mount lenses that was super excited about the announcement of the A99 too.
Can I do? I always want to do this. It doesn't work. What's the point? Why do people do that?
A-mount lenses. Why have you got so many A-mount lenses?
I think a lot of them are very good, underrated, and some of them are very cheap. Like this Minolta 300mm, which is Apo and autofocus. You know, is a fraction of the cost of. Second down is a fraction of the cost of a new Canon or Nikon one. Yeah, so they're good value. There's some great bargains to be had, and I didn't pay that much for these because people don't want them as much. I'm not really moving fast enough at all.
Can you maybe do some,
No. I'm just eating a dumpling. Are you just going to get covered in dumpling?
Get your pole out.
No.
Right. So now we're gonna take photos of Madame Chan frying some dumplings. I think it's just that whoever makes the plate is called Madame Chan. It's Yang Mama.
Follow on Facebook.
Don't find Madame Chan. Come to Yang Mama. It's recommended. Is that health and safety thing if I get into the kitchen? Because I have got like, at a minute I've got airborne AIDS, which is never a good thing for food health and safety. I think one of those shots will work. I mean, it seems like it's mostly A7R2 here, but it's not. This is a far better camera in terms of focusing. I agree with Dan, the A-mount glass is good and affordable, but with 12 FPS, I decide to shoot something a little bit quicker some other day. Trying another man's helmet on for size.
You might want to take your Snapchats off.
Wow! It's like being born again.
Wow, it's like being born.
Oh.
Go on, get your head in there.
First of all, let's see what Protol Paul John Bayfield thinks of the A99 too. We're ready to go.
If you are doing this type of thing, you're typically going to belong to one of two armies, and that would be Canon and Nikon. One as much as the other, they're pretty much the same. I happen to belong to the Nikon group, and I use one of these. It's a D5. The mirror's in there, it goes up and down. You aim it at stuff, it works pretty fast. It's a good tool for a job such as this. But something new has come along from Sony. Ta-da! Now it is a DSLR, it does have a mirror, but unlike the other two, this one doesn't move, it stays perfectly still, and it is translucent, so you're looking continuously through the lens, effectively in live view all the time. You're seeing what you're getting, and I'm interested to see what's the blackout time going to be like, and how does it compare to something like the D5. Let's find out. It is firing fast. 12 FPS right off the bat. It sounds nice too. He's just gone off the track. One thing about having all those kind of cross points with the focus is I'm not having to kind of like compose and focus and then recompose for my frame. It's actually, the AF is kind of picking out the moving part of the target really nicely. And I'm not having to think about that. Okay, so it is tracking a moving subject through frame really quite nicely.
And I have to say, I wholeheartedly agree. This is immense. This is insane. There's virtually no viewfinder blackout. I mean, just think about that. 42 megapixels, 12 FPS. Let's track him. The subject tracking is as close to perfect as you'd want. I mean, if you want to get that kind of frame rate with a Nikon, it's a D5. Well, if you want to shoot raw at full resolution, it drops down to 11.1 FPS, but still. Mirrorless is great and all, but sometimes you just can't beat having a bigger body, better battery life, more ruggedness. It's almost like you're talking about me. There is a lot to like about the Sony a99 too. Details from the 42 megapixel sensor are unsurprisingly good. It's crispier than a burnt crispy thing. However, it's not a low light monster. At ISO 3200 it's still okay. At ISO 6400 you start to see a lot of details. At 12800 not so hot. And then above that, well, you can guess. The A99 II is impressive for stills, but what about for video? So yes, movie mode. Shoots 4K. It's a Sony. It's got S-Log3, which the A7R II does not have. Which is nice. I mean, this seems like it could be the perfect replacement to my A7R II. One thing I don't like about the A7R II, battery life. Atrocious. Now, people keep saying, switch it to airplane mode, switch this and that off. No! Battery life is atrocious. Of course it's got all the perks. It's got everything basically. It's got the 5-axis stabilization. And yes, it does have continuous autofocus for video. But here's the catch. It's only at f3.5. Because it's stuck at f3.5, of course I can put an ND filter on it, but it will still keep changing when I'm going for something dark to something bright like that. I mean, that's one thing that just infuriates. Why? Why, Sony? So I have to have the screen at a certain angle before I can actually see it the right way up. Just like this. Anything like this, no, it's upside down. There's no reason why they couldn't have added continuous autofocus in full manual mode. I have to say the A92 is exceptional for still images, but for video, it kind of feels like they've crippled the potential of it. I mean, when they first announced this, I was really thinking of selling my A7R II and getting this, because, yes, it's got a tilty flippy screen that you can shoot yourself and see yourself with, but the continuous autofocus, why? They've got the Canon disease. No! You know what? I think the thing that they really left out is continuous autofocus in manual mode.
That's just for vloggers. Like
no,
you.
it's the way forward.
No, it is. I agree. There's a photo camera though. I
这一
mean,
个饺子你还要吗？
oh,
吃掉吧，别浪费。
They could have given you manual. They could have given you full manual of this, but they didn't.
let's have a look at the shutter speed.
That's not okay, is it, Dan?
It's not really okay, and it's F what?
F3.5.
All the time.
Yeah. See, for video, the continuous autofocus is really quick as well. The trouble is when it picks a faster shutter speed, the video isn't so smooth, and you can see the problems when you shoot under fluorescent lighting.
Hold that a minute.
Yes, with manual focus you can still shoot tasty 4K video, but it's a continuous autofocus thing that leaves a funny aftertaste in the mouth. "4K looks good, it has S-Log3 which the A7R2 doesn't have, although like the A7R2 it does suffer from noise even at reasonably lower ISOs. Even at ISO 1600 I was finding visible noise in the dark tones."
Oh, look at that.
漂亮吧？
But being an A7R2 user knowing the amount of megapixels it has, it's not a surprise. The continuous AF is. If they can have continuous AF in video mode with full manual exposure for the A7R2, why not with the A99 too? Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic camera. It's just that having seen the amount of features Sony has chucked into their cameras recently, it's surprising they didn't completely knock the ball out of the park with this one. Thank you to Squarespace for supporting the channel. Squarespace is an all-in-one solution for creating websites or online stores with their super slick award-winning templates, 24/7 customer service and domains. Makes putting together a website super easy even for people like me. If you'd like to create a website or online store, you can start your free trial today at squarespace.com and enter the offer code KAI to get 10% off your first purchase. Make your next move with Squarespace.